do you still need a joint sponsor if your sponsor's income exceeds the minimum? I'm Erick Widman. I'm an immigration lawyer, and one of the key requirements enabling you to get a green card is that you must have a sponsor for a family-based green card application who is going to show that they are promising to support you in the case you need help. That's part of the affidavit of support requirement that your sponsor, who is often the petitioner, needs to file for you. So yes, your petitioner has to file an affidavit of support for you. When you're evaluating if your sponsor's income is sufficient, you're going to look to a form called the 864P as in Paul, or P as in poverty, because that's what it stands for. 864P as in Paul for poverty shows what the minimum threshold is for your sponsor to support you. It has to be 125% or more of the poverty line to clear USCIS's minimum. And so you'll look on the number of household members to see what that minimum number is. And so your sponsor, the petitioner, might already exceed the minimum number. Let's say the minimum is $28,000. If your sponsor has a salary earning $35,000 per year, he clears the minimum. But you're wondering, I have the option, and your sponsor has the option, to pursue a joint sponsor. You often collaborate on these things. And many people ask our law firm, should I go out and look for a joint sponsor? Because it's hard enough finding a single sponsor. Quite often, finding sufficient financial support on behalf of your petitioner sponsor can be challenging. You've got to marshal all the evidence to show that your original sponsor has enough money to support you to meet the requirements. So it's work to find a joint sponsor. And ideally, you wouldn't have to have a joint sponsor. There are many close calls out there where someone technically does exceed the minimum, but that doesn't end the analysis for USCIS. USCIS could see a sponsor exceeding the minimum and still demand more proof of support. USCIS or the consular officer reviewing your case, if you're doing consular processing, can require that you get a joint sponsor even if your sponsor exceeds the minimum. So you should consider proactively going out and getting a joint sponsor, asking that friend or family member who is at least a permanent resident or a citizen to sponsor you. And they would need to provide pay stubs, 3 years of tax returns, and ideally show that they have a good job that's full-time work or a lot of assets in the bank to help you comfortably push beyond that close call margin. Because the USCIS officer, the consular officer, can decide that even though your sponsor makes $35,000 a year and the minimum is $28,000, they want and they can demand that they show that you're not going to be a public charge issue by showing that you have a joint sponsor ready and able to support you in light of, for example, your age or health issues. It's a specialized determination based upon who you, the applicant, are. So some people, elderly people who can't work, if you're the applicant for the green card and you're not going to be able to get a job that easily, the consular officer, the USCIS officer, in that situation will more likely demand that you have a joint sponsor. So it's an individualized determination. But in summary, the fastest way to answer this question, the simplest way to answer this question is that you could very well still need a joint sponsor even if your sponsor's income exceeds the minimum. You've got to look at the circumstances, the background of the applicant, and look at how much the original sponsor exceeds the minimum. Let us know if you have any questions. We know this is a complex area. Affidavit of support is a very complex scenario. Take care, and we look forward to speaking to you.